Kol Kadosh, everybody welcome. Bezrat Hashem, we're going to continue with our shiur. First we're going to say Baruch Hatzlacha לכל חולי עמו ישראל, הקדוש ברוך הוא תרפא אותם, ירווח איבריהם, שסק ידיהם, וגם אלף הבדלות, זיווג הגון, קריל דניאל בן משה, וגם ניסם בן דוד, אליהו בן בכור, ברוך, משה בן יאיר. זכות דברי תורה we're going to say בעזרת השם, שהקדוש ברוך הוא תשפיע לכל עמו ישראל וגם לעילוי נשמת אלף הבדלות. מזל בת ישוע רוח השם תנחנה בגן עדן היא וכל השוכבים עמה בכלל רחמים והסליחות וכן יהי רצון ונאמר אמן. בעזרת השם we're going to continue with our daily shiur. Please everybody participate. We're giving out talit katan, shaving machines. Please don't hesitate to call us at 917-335-4763. We're going to continue a little bit also talking about hilchot of the Pesach, halachot of the Pesach. So B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, it's going to be for us Pesach, not this Thursday coming up, but next Thursday. So we have to do B'dikah Chametz for Thursday night. It's going to be after 7:50 p.m. Everybody please clean before the cars, the businesses. Even a person has workers that Gentiles, which is not Jews, they could come and eat in their business. We just cannot sit with them in the same table. Make sure that we're going to clean everything in the businesses. Like I said, liquors. There's many liquors that's not kosher. There's a vodka not kosher for Passover. So make sure either we're going to sell it or we're going to drink it before the Pesach will be, which is before the Saturday morning. And also we have to get in touch with our local rabbi, to get in touch with them so they could sell our chametz. So B'ezrat Hashem Yitbarach, make sure that on Thursday, not this Thursday, next Thursday, we're going to say one baracha, Baruch Ata Hashem, Asher Kedoshanu B'mitzvotav V'tzivonu, Al Biur Chametz, which is we're going to check all the corners of the house, everything in the car. So if a person can do it with a candle, make sure he's going to be careful. He's not going to chas v'shalom, chas v'chalila, to burn out the house. He has to be very, very careful. Same thing, if he's going to go outside, he cannot go out with a candle because sometimes it could be windy and candle will blow off. He could use a flashlight. So once he's going to do B'dikah Chametz, also the Ben Ish Chai in Parashat Tzav, it says it's good to put 10 little pieces of bread less than 18 grams, which is less than kazait according to the Rambam. We have to put it in a wrapper of the paper or wrapper of the foil, then we have to burn it. Then the question is how you're going to burn it if it's wrapped in a foil. So we have to, of course, to undo the foil and we have to burn the chametz. So we're going to spread around the house the 10 pieces. It represents the 10 klipin, which means the klipa, it's a negative energy that the chametz, that is on a Pesach, it's considered Yetzer Hara. So because it's considered Yetzer Hara, the Zohar HaKadosh, Zohar asking a question, if it's a Yetzer Hara, the chametz it's Yetzer Hara, the bread is Yetzer Hara, how come we eating the whole year the Yetzer Hara? The Zohar HaKadosh have a beautiful answer, saying following like this. So when a person, the whole year he's eating chametz, saying, if God forbid, if a person is sick and a doctor give him antibiotic, or give him the trufa, which is a pill to heal him, he says the Pesach is the healing, it's the matzah is the healing for Jewish nation. Because the matzah is healing for Jewish nation, once it's already healed, which means healed from the Yetzer Hara, healed from all the negativity, in that moment, and whatever he's going to eat, which is considered so-called the lechem that he's going to eat, the bread that he's going to eat, that lechem is considered for him is going to be Yetzer Tov, which means good angel. It's already healed with the matzah. So that's why we have to put, one of the reasons, 10 little breadcrumbs all over the house, and we have to search for it. Once we're going to search for it, we're going to have the nusach, which is whatever we found, whatever we did not found, everything became like a dust of the earth. And make sure that we're going to check thoroughly the pockets of the kids, the beds of the kids. Sometimes we take the kid from the bar mitzvah, brit milah. Sometimes we take candies from the wedding, candies. So those candies, some of the candies, make sure the hechsher is going to be kasher la Pesach, some of them are not. So if God forbid the person finds it all of a sudden in his jacket, he has to put it aside, and after the Yom Tov, which is finishes, he has to burn it. Because in the Torah it says, Bali ra'eh, bali matzeh. You cannot see the chametz, you cannot find the chametz. Same thing, a person, when he checks, like we said it before, make sure the car is clean before, the businesses is clean. Then after he's going to find the chametz, he needs to nullify like we said. And on Friday morning, what he has to do, he has to burn the chametz after the shacharit, after the praying. Who has to do the search? Also, I forgot to say, the search has to be done whether the woman or the man or the woman. They both have to search. They have both of them obligation is to find the chametz and search for the chametz and make a blessing for the chametz. So it's very important also, the man and the woman, the lady, sometimes she says the husband does not want to do it, or God forbid she divorced, or God forbid she's a almana, which is a widow. Make sure that the woman also make that search for the chametz and everything. Even she have a car, the businesses, everything has to be searched. The business, if it's far away, like in Long Island, exit 50, 60, so he has to do the next morning without the blessing, he has to search for the whole chametz. He has to search, and he needs to have, when he's going to make a blessing, Baruch Atah Hashem, Shekadoshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivonu al biur chametz, make sure he's going to have in mind for his house, for his car, for his businesses, whatever the chametz is located. So make sure everything is going to be out, because chametz, like we said it before, what is it? Represents a little bit. And afterwards, in the morning, after the shacharit, he has to burn the chametz. Why he has to burn the chametz? Because we still continue eating on Friday night, because the Passover is going to be on Motzei Shabbat. How are we able to eat? We're burning right now in usual time. If it's going to be Pesach, if the Pesach will be not on a Motzei Shabbat, which is Saturday night, how are we able to do what we do in the mitzvot? So on Friday, the Chazal says the next year there will be, so you won't forget that to burn the chametz. So on Friday morning we have to burn the chametz. After we burn the chametz, this a person has to pay attention. After we burn the chametz, if the person eating bread at nighttime, and a Friday night, and a Saturday morning until 10:15, he's still eating bread, he cannot say the nullification for morning one. Why is that? Because he's continuing eating bread at nighttime. If he's eating the bread at nighttime, if he's not eating the bread at nighttime, and he's not eating the bread in the morning time, that means he could nullify the chametz when he does this on Friday morning. So make sure when he burns the chametz, he has to know if he's eating bread at nighttime on Friday and Saturday morning, pita bread for some example, that it does not crumble. So in that moment, what he has to do, he has to on Saturday morning, he has to make the nullification, and he's gonna say, whatever I found, what I did not found, becomes everything like the dust of the earth. If he's eating bread, he has to do this, the sentences on a Saturday morning. But if he's not eating bread, if he's somebody, Baruch Hashem, he has a big family, so on Friday night, what he has to eat, so he could eat matzah ashira, which means the rich matzah. What does it mean? It's made either with the eggs, with the wine, or with the many juices. One of them is the apple juice. Okay, so in this moment he has to eat. He has to make hamotzi lechem min haaretz on Friday night, and he has to eat that matzah, approximately 2.5 matzot, which is the square ones. If it's a 35 grams, it's approximately, he has to eat 2.5 matzot at nighttime, him and his family, which is each individual has to eat that matzah, which is called matzah ashira, the rich matzah, on Friday night, on Saturday morning, and a Suda Shlishit, which means the third Suda, the third meal that Baruch Hashem we do also on Saturday. If a person does not want to eat that type of matzah, what he has to do, he has to at least that matzah, which is called not ashira, matzah shmura, which means matzah that was been hold, the water in the grain did not drop, it's shmura. So shmura also means that he kept, watched after. So a person could take the matzah, either he could fry it in a frying pan with the oil, that's one of the things, and he could make a hamotzi lechem min haaretz. That matzah already not becomes matzah regular, it becomes matzah ashira, which means the rich matzah. The second thing, he could, what he has to do, he has to dip the whole matzah, put it inside the soup while the soup is hot, drop it inside, which is, he has to put it, he has to be a professional cooker. I guess he has to take one of those plugs that you have to put it inside the soup. You put it inside the soup. Chacham Avadia says you have to put it inside the soup while the soup is hot, and you have to take it out when the soup is cold. But I heard one of the Rabbi Chaim Chulon, he says you could take the whole matzah, you could put it inside the soup, make sure it absorbs the soup inside the matzah. Once it absorbs it, then you could take it out. It's going to take 30 seconds to a minute. Then make sure you're going to have lechem mishneh, which is the matzah cannot be breakable. Break in that moment piece of parts. Why? Because in a Shabbat, like we know from the Parasha Aman, that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us the substance in the wilderness and desert for 2 days. So that's why we have to have two matzah together, and we could make on the matzah hamotzi lechem min haaretz. So either way, either we're gonna dip it inside the soup for 30 seconds or to the minute, or we could fry it. Or third thing, we could fry it with the egg, and we're gonna make it the matzah ashira. We're gonna make it the matzah rich matzah. This is one of the things that we have to be careful. Why? Because the Erev Pesach is gonna be on Shabbat. Sometimes a person could be chumrah, which means he takes more strict opinion. He does eat bread. So if he does eat bread, you have many advices. What he could do, he could buy a pita bread. Pita bread usually does not crumb like the other breads. So he could take a pita bread. He could set up the table with everything plastic. The plates are plastic. The mapa, which means the tablecloth, everything is plastic. What he does, he sets up the table. The food that he serves, the food that he cooks, whether the fish, whether the meaty stuff, fleshik, what he has to do, he could do everything on Pesach, which means the pots, the pans, everything could be for the Pesach. So he puts on a plate, and of course we're talking about on a plastic plate, the food. Once he eats, let's say every Shabbat we eat fish. So once he eats the fish, he's able to eat the fish with the bread, with the pita bread, because it doesn't crumb. So everything he does, then he takes the plastic, what he does with the plastic plates, and takes it out, and he's continue eating without the bread, because he already ate the 54 grams of bread, and he's continue eating from the dishes, which is talking about not the dishes that we put on a table. We're talking about pots and pans, that the food that we put, then we continue eating from that. So that's one of the things, one of the advices a person gets if he doesn't want to go through the things that we just said. That's the halachot of Pesach. Also, a person has to be also known, because Motzei Shabbat already, we're gonna do Kiddush, and a Kiddush is gonna be not regular Kiddush that we do. Before we're gonna get to it, I'm gonna touch on one other point. If a person eating bread on a Saturday morning, make sure that he's gonna pray earlier, which is Chacham Avadia. He gives his advice, a person should pray nets, which is nets right now around 7 o'clock, very early in the year 5781. Not that early, it's between the early and late because the hour change. So what he has to do, if he's eating bread, make sure that he's going to wake up in the nets earlier, runs to his house, eats with his family if he wants to eat bread. For example, a husband and wife, or have couple guests coming in for Shabbat meal. He could do such a thing. But afterwards, make sure he's going to brush his teeth, because the Ben Ish Chai the thing is that a person could have to stop eating already the bread around 10:15 a.m. on Saturday morning. Not this Saturday, they're coming out the next Saturday. So that we're talking about, he takes the toothbrush and he clean his teeth. Okay, somebody have a dentures, he doesn't have to. All he has to do is clean it, wash it very good. That's good enough. And at that moment, he has to throw out the toothbrush. Make sure he's gonna check his broom, the broom that he brooms the house. Make sure the little crumbs is not gonna be there. And make sure that he's gonna take all the chametz, which means he takes like we say, tablecloth. He's gonna take it. The bread is inside, right? The little pirurim, which means the little crumbs. So he takes it in the garbage. And the garbage is in his premises. If he's living in a private house, if he's living in a building, it's no problem to drop in it. If he has to also rely in this moment, if he's relying on a roof, so he has to take out the garbage outside in a Rishud Rabim, which is considered public domain. Not everything considered public domain. For us, it's considered, there's a 3 Rishuyot, there's actually 4 domains. One of the domains that we say that we don't have the public domain in our times. Some say we do have a public domain, so some of us rely on Eruv. So we have to take that garbage to the public domain, which is public also means outside of my house. So this is the halacha of the Pesach. And also with Sfaradim, we're allowed to use glass cups. All we have to do is wash it. For Sfaradim, for us it's no problem. To use the glass cups, for us it's no problem. All we have to wash it. Salt makers, we have to wash it just with the hot water. Have to wash it. The wine pitcher just has to wash it thoroughly. That's it. The teapot maker, the urn, all same thing. All we have to wash it pretty good. The handles, same thing as the refrigerator, the handles, the everything. We have to wash it from the chametz. The beef, the chicken, there's no such thing kosher for Passover. They don't use this kosher for Passover. They don't slaughter special kosher for Passover meat. Because if somebody says kosher for Passover meat, that means automatically it's like bringing a korban. And he says for Yom Tov, he has to say for Yom Tov, for the holiday, not for the Passover. If he says for Passover, that means it's a problem for him to eat that because Mikadesh, he made that thing is holy, sanctified. Once it becomes sanctified, it's a problem to eat. B'diavad, if it already happened, he has to eat. But make sure that he's not going to say to the butcher, please give me the meat or the chicken for the Passover. No. Other products you could say it's no problem. So we could use the meat that whatever we have right now. Today is the so-called March 16. So tomorrow is going to be March 17. Basically, when on March 16 today, we able to still to meat that we have in our freezers, in our refrigerator. Chickens, we're able to use it in a Passover. It's no problem because they did not put chametz in it. It's a salt and a water, and they salt it out and water out. There's no such thing. So that's what we're talking about of the meat. And any products that they have OUP, that kosher for Passover, make sure that many question was aroused for the seltzer, the water, many of us don't know. Because the gas that they put, the gas for the water, for the seltzer, made for the grain. Make sure that we're going to get that stamp. Yeah, that stamp makes a difference. OUP, that is going to be kosher for Passover. For Passover, there's a lot of laws. If anybody have a question, they could call me 917-335-4763. There's a lot of laws. We have to also buy a wine. We have to also buy matzot. We also have to get the greens, which means romaine lettuce, parsley, dill, everything that has to do. Make sure we're going to clean it thoroughly. Make sure we're going to clean it from the bugs. Sometimes the people have a Baruch Hashem, Hashem bless them, Kiyad Hashem, bless him with the big family. But make sure that he's going to do everything before, and make sure that he's going to give a hand to his second half, which means to his wife. That's very important, not just to leave everything on her, on a wife, and say, you do everything, and I'm going to sit like a king. By Zrat Hashem, we're going to sit like a kings, If we're going to be treated like a king and a second wife, which is the wife means as a queen. So it's very important to help in a Pesach, especially women, margishim, regesh, they have a feelings, like her husband sometimes they want to do something above the law, and they're not so-called talking to the wife and just doing what they want to do. That's not right. So that's why you have halachically authority according to the law. Do a lot of things according to the law. A person will be happy, will be simcha, like it says, basamachta b'chagecha. You're going to be happy in your holiday. And that's what's the little bit the halachot. I was touching up a little bit of the halachot of the Pesach. B'ezrat Hashem, we're going to continue with our Musar, Divrei Mordechai, Rav Mordechai Eliyahu. ואתה תדבר אל בני ישראל לאמור, אך את שבתותיי תשמרו, כי עוד היא ביני ובניכם לדורותיכם, לדעת כי אני אדוני מקדשכם. Like it says, הרב מרדכי אליהו, זיכרונה צדיק קדוש לברכה, he says Shabbat, מנוחה לגוף ולנפש. Shabbat is a menucha, a rest for the body and for the soul. And he brings the verse from the Torah, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu tell to Moshe Rabbeinu, and you speak to Jewish nation. And you say, Shabbat is the letter between me and Jewish nation. We have to know what's the Shabbat is. How we're going to know? By learning the laws. We know the laws, we would know what's the Shabbat. Ki ani mikadeshechem. Hashem says, I will make sanctify, I will make you holy. Lada'at ki omot, haomot ba Hashem, ki ani Hashem mikadeshem, midivrei Rashi, ani lomdam et ההבדל בין העם ישראל בין אומות העולם. He says, אני מבדיל, HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I will make you a different, I will separate you between the Gentiles and Jewish nation. How is it possible? חושבים שהיום שבת, היום יום מיודד למנוחה בלבד. He says, the Gentiles thinking, the Goy thinking, that Shabbat is just a rest for the Jewish people, and that's it. That's what the God gives. ישנם אב בני ברית חושבים ששבת היא יום מנוחה בלבד. וכל אחד קובע לעצמו כיצד יממש את המנוחה. And each individual thinking, how is my resting? What I'm doing? How can I rest? Each one of us have a different rest on Shabbat. I like to go party. I like to go to beach. I like to make a chas v'chalila, everything that I'm saying on Shabbat, I would like to make a barbecue. That's my rest. God forbid a person all day sitting TV, watching TV, and he says, that's my rest. Each one of us says, we have our own rest. ועל ידי יום מנוחה בלבד, כל אחד קובע לעצמו כיצד יממש את מנוחה, על ידי ביליונים, משחק כדורגל חלילה וחס, על ידי שמירת שבת כהלכתה. He says, people have a lot of money, sometimes they do crazy stuff on Shabbat because they're thinking, this is for us, it's the menucha, it's the rest. אני מצווה אתכם, הקדוש ברוך הוא says, I commanding you, על השמירת שבת, to keep Shabbat. How is it? ועליכם דעת יש הבדל גדול. We have to know, we have a big difference. בין יום שבת של עם ישראל לבין יום מנוחה של הגויים. We have to know the difference between Jewish nation, the way we have to keep Shabbat, and the way the goyim dictate to us, which is the Gentile, and the way Gentile thinking. Many of us, unfortunately, we're thinking, we're not judging anybody, we're thinking Shabbat the way goyim. But no, we have a chazal, we have a sages that tell us what does it mean. וזאת ועוד, and not only that, הגויים בוחרים להם יום מנוחה כרצונם. It says goy, Gentiles, they pick any day that they want to pick for the rest. ולא כלום נחים בו, אלא יש שנחים ויש שעובדים קשה. He says some Gentiles, they have rest day, but some of them don't. Some of them work 365 days a week, 365 days a year, 7 days a week. אך עם ישראל, אצל עם ישראל לא ככה הדבר. He says for Jewish nation, not like this. אלא למען ינוח שורך וחמורך, like it says in a verse, your shor, ינוח שורך, your ox, וחמורך, which is your donkey, מלבד ידיעה של עם ישראל מה שמעת של השבת. גם גויים יודעים היטב כי יום השבת של העם ישראל אינו יום מנוחה. And also Gentiles know. For Jewish people, Shabbat is not a rest. אלא זאת שבת שקיבלו מהשם, אני מקדשכם. If we accept it from God, and God says, I will sanctify you and make you holy. אמנם יש בשבת גם עניין של המנוחה, but on Shabbat also we have rest. אך העיקר השבת הוא תתקשה הקדושה וטהרה. He says the main important thing for Shabbat, knowing the laws, הקדושה, which means the holiness, sanctifying, וטהרה, pureness. How is it? מנוחה והגוף מהווה אמצעי קדושת הנשמה. When a person have a settle in the mind, menucha, rest in the mind, in the body, the neshama, the soul also has the rest. בשבת יש להוסיף בלימוד תורה יראת שמיים. In Shabbat we have to add limud, learning. And also I want to pinpoint over here that Baruch Hashem and Rabbi Chekshu on Shabbat, which is behind King David, I am doing shiur every Shabbat. Please everybody participate, 4:30 p.m. Please, people ask him, please, I want to learn with you. You could, each one of you come in for Shabbat. And he says over here, Rav Ariel, a person should add on Shabbat. If a person working the whole week, he does not have opportunity to learn all day, what he should do? He should add the time on Shabbat. Menucha, balimut Torah, yirat shamayim, and fear of God, of learning what means fear of God. גם אכילה ושתייה בשבת נעשה מתוך מטרה של וקראת לשבת עונג. ישעיהו prophet in פרק נ"ח, נוח, י"ג, in 58:13 following says, וקראת לשבת עונג. And you consider Shabbat, and we consider Shabbat עונג, enjoyment. מורנו ורבנו גאון עוזנו ותפארתנו הרב בעל הבן איש חי. Rav Mordechai Eliyahu brings a Rav Ben Ish Chai, alav hashalom. היה רגיל לדרוש על אודות השיבוד, מעלה של השבת, כמה צריכים אנו לסמוך לפני כניסתה. He says, how much we have to be happy when a Shabbat comes in. The mishpacha, the family, happiness, very important to put a smile, not to makpid, not to sit and flip around everything that's happening in a house. And he says, Bala ben Ish Chai, knisata lishtadel la'arich ba, v'lo lotzia midot zman betzetato. He says, some people rushing to come out of Shabbat. No. He says, make sure that everything is going to be on time. והוא אומר, כשהזמן אורח בעל הבית, לא נא להעביד בשעון כל דקה. He says, when a guest comes in, like a Kadosh Baruch Hu b'Shabbat, and a Shabbat is a guest for us. He says, it's not nice that every second a person look at the sha'on, at the time, and when is the Shabbat will finish. כאילו רומזים לאורח שאם הוא רוצה להעדיף שילך לו דרכו. And we remezing, we're hinting to the orech, which is the guest, that we don't want to be next to him, that we want to right away to let him to go out from us. גם עניין שבת המלכתה, same thing Shabbat. ויש להורות להשם כי היא רצוי לנו. We have to show to Hashem that we want Shabbat. We respect Shabbat. We're being happy on Shabbat. We use our speech, our clothing, everything should be properly on Shabbat. Yes, it's nice to say. Yes, it's very easy to say. If we're going to keep practicing and learning the laws of it, and we keep learning the Musar, we're able to come what the Ben Ish Chai says and our sages say. ואילו לנו למהר לשלוח מביתו. יש רבים דורשים לאחר סעודה שלישית בעיני ההלכה והאגדה, ואנשים מן הקהל מסתנקים כל דקה בשעון רומזים לרב שזמנו תם. שזמנו תם. He says, sometimes, even in the Ben Ish Chai time, or Rav Mordechai Eliyahu, people used to look at the rabbi in Seudah Shlishit on the third meal and tell him, Rabbi, they're just looking at remez, they're giving him a hand, they're not telling them directly, they keep looking at the time. Why they're looking at the time? They tell them, come on, just wrap it up, make it so finished so quickly. We want to go away already. Anashim ina mistaklim kol hadaka. In every second, look at the watch. What is it telling you? That these guys don't want to listen. It's like Shabbat chas v'shalom all. Like for them, it's a weight, burden. אין ראוי לעשות כן לשבת מלכתה, לסלקה כמה שיותר מוקדם. אדרבה צריך לסמוך על כל דקה שבת עדיין איתנו. We have to be happy that Shabbat every second, every moment with us. It's very important. להרגיש את הצערה של הנפש בצאתה. We have to feel the צערה, we have to feel the pain. When a Motzei Shabbat comes in, Shabbat vay nafash. When a Shabbat, when neshama yitera, which just means the extra neshama that goes away from our body. להרגיש את צרת של הנפשה, עד כדי כך שאנו צריכים להשיב את הרוחות ברכת הבשמים. He says, when a neshama wants to depart from the body on a Motzei Shabbat, that's why we do Baruch Atah Hashem Borei Atzeh Besamim. We take the Atzeh, which is the Chadasim. Chadasim, they have the myrtles. We smell it, we make a blessing on it. If somebody cannot find a Besamim like a myrtles, why it has to be 3? Because in a Shabbat, at nighttime, you're going to bring the 3 levels of neshama. The nefesh you're going to bring on a boy kala, which is the entrance of the Shabbat. The ruach, which means the second level of the neshama, you're going to bring it when we're going to say Baruch Hu et Amunai and a Aravit, that's for the nighttime, and a Ufros Sukkot Shlomo Aleinu, which means on a Aravit. In a continuation, we're going to bring the neshama. So nefesh we're going to bring in a boy kala, Baruch Hu et Amunai HaMevorach, we're going to bring it in an Aravit of Shabbat. That's why we have to get up to accept the neshama, which is the ruach. The third one, Ufros Sukkot Shlomo, this is going to be the neshama. This is for the nighttime. In the morning time, we're accepting, like the Kaf HaChaim says, we have to get up in a Nishmat Kol Chai, accept the nefesh for the daytime, and accept the ruach in a Baruch after the Amunai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Yagiti Latecha in 18. We're going to accept before the Baruch. We're going to say, we're going to accept the ruach of the daytime. And the neshama, we're going to accept it, Keter Itenu Lecha Ba'aye Mekom Kevodo, which is an Musaf. This is what we're talking about Shabbat. And when Shabbat, Motzei Shabbat comes out, we have the neshama, the extra neshama with the myrtles. We're able to keep some rishim, some impression of the neshama that want to depart from the body. So B'ezrat Hashem, whatever divrei Torah we said, Kadosh Baruch Hu tashpia lanu, chut shel chesed, chut shel rachamim, chut shel baraka, yagdil Torah v'yadira, v'chen yeratzon v'nomar amen.